To close out this segment of our report, please sum up by offering some best practices for managing privileged user accounts.
Sure, absolutely, Mike. For us, when we work with our clients, we first want to help them understand what critical infrastructure is in place, what critical applications are in place. It's the first thing. You really need to understand what is critical and what that means and what value is placed on that data and those applications if something was stolen. The next thing you need to do is really understand who has access to those systems and what policies are in place to provide that access, and then also decommission that access as appropriate. With that, understand what tools are in place today to monitor those systems. You may have tools that are very close to providing this monitoring capability, but maybe you need a little bit of help on the provisioning side. So understanding those tools that are in place to do the monitoring, to do the provisioning is pretty important. And then based on the gaps that are understood, it's really important to evaluate those vulnerabilities. What would it mean if they were compromised? And then from there you can determine what tools would be in place to satisfy those vulnerabilities, because they're going to have a cost associated with it. And that gives you an opportunity to build that business case for the technology to put in place. The last thing is to find an organization or the right resources, maybe they're internal, to help you implement that technology appropriately for your business.
We'll conclude our report with some lessons learned to help keep your privileged user accounts in check. In this report, we learned how privileged user accounts can impact IT security. We then identified bad practices that can cause problems with privileged accounts. Then we talked about the tools and applications that can help IT organizations manage and control system and network users. Next, we'll wrap up our report with closing remarks from our guest expert. Now, Trevor, what are your final recommendations on the issue of privileged user access?
Mike, I appreciate the time again today. For the viewers, I think it's important to work hand in hand with the information security professionals to help them build a business justification for these technologies, to find a way to get on the offensive versus being on the defensive, because you know that it's not just an if something happens, it's more of a when. And there's a lot of great technology that's been put in place out there to protect against these vulnerabilities, to advise you that they've occurred, and ensure that your organization is protected. And it's just important to find a way to justify that with funding and with resources.
Trevor Smith for Bright Computers, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and advice on this critically important topic.
Thank you very much, Mike. Have a great day.